Take a listen.
First things first, and when you see Patriot Way in the dictionary, it's going to have Tom Brady's name next to it. None of those coaches threw any passes. None of those coaches caught any passes. None of those coaches made any tackles. They got guys in the right position because they watch a lot of film and they spend all their time at the facility. But Tom Brady is the Patriot Way, and that's the reason why Tom Brady's in the Super Bowl right now, and the Patriots aren't.
Boom! There you go. How about a guy that played against those Patriots in a Super Bowl, Brian Westbrook, joining the conversation now. Brian, good morning. We got to start right there. You agree with what Danny Amendola had to say yesterday on the show about Brady versus Belichick?
Well, you know, Jenna, good morning. I do not agree with him. And I think we come from a couple different perspectives, myself and Danny Amendola, because I remember 2002. And I remember 2004, we played them in the Super Bowl. And I remember 2005 when they went back-to-back, the Patriots did. Those were defensive-led football teams. I remember Richard Seymour and Rodney Harrison and Willie McGinnis, Mike Vrabel, all those defensive guys. Those were defensive-led football teams. Those guys set the tone for the Patriot Way. They set the tone that allowed Tom Brady to grow into the leader that he was. And then when you think of Amendola, you're starting to think of the Super Bowl 2015, 2017, 2019. By that time, Tom Brady had accepted and adapted into the Patriot Way. And at that point, now it was about Tom Brady, the way that he prepared, the way that he allowed himself to be coached, his mental awareness. But most importantly, it was about he was never satisfied. He never allowed the completion of winning Super Bowls, prior Super Bowls, allow him to slow down and continue to work. And I think that's the most important thing as far as the Patriot Way goes. What do you do after you have success? So many people are satisfied with having a little bit of success or having a lot of success like the Patriots have early on in Tom Brady's career. But it's the greats, the true greats, that are never satisfied like Tom Brady wasn't after those first 3 Super Bowls, Nick.
All right, so I thought in real time, and even more so after hearing it, that this is a little unfair of Danny. But Wilds, it's still a problem for your beloved Patriots. So it's unfair because, listen, Danny Amendola was upset the Patriots didn't re-sign him. That's not me speculating. He said as much. He thought he had taken less money. He thought he had earned it. He had a huge catch in the I think it was the championship game against the Jags. He had a big catch in the Super Bowl, and they wouldn't give him $6 million a year. So there is some hurt feelings there with Bill Belichick squeezing him for money and him having to go elsewhere and leave Tom Brady and miss out on one of those Super Bowl runs, right? So that's a real thing. And obviously what Brian is saying is true. That first Super Bowl they won, the defense was the first, second, and third reason why. And the last Super Bowl they won, the defense was the first, second, and third reason why. The middle 4, Brady gets massive credit for. But Wilds, here's the problem.
Yeah, buddy.
As the brilliant Slim Charles once said to Avon Barksdale, if it's a lie, we fight on the lie. And whether it's true or not, if that is the belief amongst players, amongst the league, amongst people that the Patriots are going to try to bring in, that is a problem. If the belief is that the Patriot mystique walked out the door when Tom Brady did, and their struggles this year sure as hell didn't help that with Brady ascending throughout the season, that is a problem for your Patriots and this final chapter of Belichick, however long it is. So I don't think it's fair commentary, but I don't even know if it needs to be fair for it to be damaging if enough people believe it, Wilds.
Yeah, you know what? In real time, I viewed it more as a main dish of Brady support with a side dish of Belichick diss. And I was actually surprised that it took off so much. But then when I sat back, I'm like, oh, it reads more kind of incendiary than it sounds. And it was kind of the third piece of a media trend. That Belichick was under attack for sort of giving up on Tom Brady, even though Tom Brady put his house up for sale in the summer and then played that whole season. Then all of a sudden it's Belichick's fault, as if that had something to do with it. Number 2 was the Stafford report. The Stafford report that he wants to play anywhere was sort of like the second knife. And then Danny Amendola comes in with a little knockout jab. So I think those three sort of things kind of made the narrative spin a little faster, Brandon. And I think Nick is right. Belichick's got the 4th most cap space now. And there's plenty of wide receivers out there. Juju's out there. You know, I want to trade for Odell, Sammy Watkins, Chris Godwin. We still need a quarterback. As much as I love Cam, it'd be nice to have former Patriot Jimmy G. If any little things pop up where they're like, I don't want to go to Foxborough, I think everyone's going to be like, man, I don't know if this hard-nosed Patriot Way thing that Bill has been running maybe needs to soften up if we can't even attract free agents anymore.
Look, I mean, I appreciate the discussion, but it's not either or, it's both. Like, you got to think about Bill Belichick as the leader. He's the one that established or created the Patriot Way. And Tom Brady and company and all these other guys that Brian highlighted, Nick called out, from Lord Malloy and Ty Law, Vince Wilfork, and you go on and on and on, they made it successful. But when I think about creating a company, when I think about leading a team, I think about 3 things. I think about people, process, and then the product, in that order. So before there was a Tom Brady, like Bill Belichick was the one that was hiring the coaches. He was making those decisions. He was the one that picked Tom Brady. He's the one that picked Danny. So I disagree with Danny because I believe it's both. It's not either or. So from a people standpoint, he made those decisions. He was the head coach and the general manager, damn near the president of the organization. From a process standpoint, you got to think about the routine that they put in place. Every day it was the same thing. They didn't change up anything for 20 years. So process is everything. There's a reason why they were successful, because Tom Brady was the one that sat in the front row, and Bill Belichick was the one when Tom Brady threw 3 picks in a practice or in a game. He called him out the same way he called out the number 2, number 3 wide receiver. And that's why they were successful. How many talented teams, more talented teams have we seen go into Foxborough or play against a less talented Patriots team and lose? And the last thing is the product, and you said it, B. Come on. That defense, Tom Brady had nothing to do with that. Tom Brady had nothing to do with special teams. So I think it's discrediting everybody in that organization, from the players and the coaches, because it takes both and it takes everybody.
Brandon, you're absolutely right. There are so many more things that went into the success that the Patriots have had over time. But I also think that we're kind of looking at what has happened this year and looking at the results of the Patriots season with Cam Newton, without Tom Brady, the greatest quarterback of all time, and saying, well, maybe the Patriot Way doesn't work. I would have to push back on that a little bit, because I think when you lose the best quarterback in the league, as far as the one with the most Super Bowls, Tom Brady, and you don't have a bunch of talent.
No, you said it right. Best quarterback. You said it.
What do you expect? What do you expect to happen now? Everybody knows the best quarterback in the league is Aaron Rodgers this season, but that's neither here nor there. He's the MVP. But I mean, what did we expect the Patriots to actually be when you don't have a bunch of talent and you lose the best quarterback that you guys have ever had in your franchise? What do we expect them to be? I think Bill Belichick said it correctly when he said we went all out for those Super Bowls in the late 2015, 16, 2017 and 19 as well. They went all out for that. And because of that, they are shortage on players. What do we really expect from them, Kevin, when you think about it?
Right.
So sorry. I apologize. I was marking down more bulletin board material from what Brian Westbrook just said. The best quarterback in the league. Mark it down. Bulletin board material. You heard it, Patrick. He called it Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers at home right now. Yeah, best quarterback in the league. Write it down. I want to make this clear to the audience. I am not agreeing with Danny Amendola. I think every point Brian and Brandon made is spot on. And I think that people are lying to themselves if they think Tom Brady, as great as he is, was destined to become Tom Brady when he's a 6th-round pick who his rookie season was the 4th quarterback on the depth chart. And it was the Patriots coaching staff. Look that up. They kept 4 because they saw something in Tom that they didn't want to let go. They then cultivated it. They also had the courage of their convictions. Bill Belichick had just made Drew Bledsoe the highest paid player in the history of football, and he kept him on the bench. after the Mo Lewis hit once he recovered from it because he saw something in Tom. So obviously this was a symbiotic relationship, and I think it's very obvious that Brady became Brady in large part because of Belichick. Not that dissimilar to Michael Jordan and Dean Smith. Like, I think that they helped each other massively.
That Belichick was under attack for sort of giving up on Tom Brady, even though Tom Brady put his house up for sale in the summer. And